Haigweni taino, mena, wase miguan. Mena, Cristina energia, wabishki benes, wase miguan. Ni biikwe, atave huracan, wabishki wawashke shinibe. Megizi indudem, kae, kichigami mikinak indudem. Kakabakan indunjaba, minowakubakana indunjaba. Bonjour. Gakinoya. Hi everyone. I have many names. I go by my given name is Cristina Naranjo Rivera, but I am also named Energia, Wabishkibenes, White Thunderbird, Wase Miguan, Shining Feather, Nibi Ikwe, Water Woman, also Atabe, or Ni Mama Nana Ki, La Tierra Madre, Earth Mother, and Wabishki Wawashke Shinibe, something like the white water deer, something like this. And I'm grateful to be here. I'm on the eve of my 40th birthday. I almost can't believe that. And my background is varied and has been focused on serving the highest good of those most oppressed throughout my life. And that has taken the form of directing youth programs, doing policy work, advocacy work, research, prayerful protest, art, activism, so many things. I've been called for some time now to catalyze something that's been coming through me called Tain Flow, which is an indigenized forms of and globally indigenized forms of meditation and yoga, and more broadly taking many of the yogic practices that I've gained through the more than 700 hours of training that I have formally through three teacher training programs, and infusing those into daily practices people can use in their lives. And for me, it feels very important, not for me, through me, it is important that we honor and begin to elevate very simple teachings common to many of the eagle lands, what is now known as North America, as well as the condor lands, what is now known as South America. I have heritage from many continents, including what is now Canada, First Nations, Cubacana, the island of Cuba, and Afro-Indigenous Caribbean peoples, what is now Colombia, Venezuela, Peru, Bolivia, Brazil, Amazonian area, so Incan heritage, as well as diverse European, Mediterranean, even some Slovenian, as well as a vast North and Western African heritage. And I'm in this constant process of learning, naming, reclaiming. And so I honor all of the lineages I come from and those I've learned from. This is a longer preamble than I was intending, but I'm very excited to offer Tain Flow, an indigenized yoga and mindfulness meditation and prayer practice. It follows the seasons. My first offerings will be 7, offered once every Sunday and Thursday for 7 days, leading 7 of those days over a few weeks. So 7 days of Sunday, Thursday, leading up to our Winter Solstice of 2025, which is a powerful day. It's 3/4 of the way through the Arawak year, and 1/4 of the year is therefore left until our new year, which is the spring equinox. And so we'll be incorporating things like the 4 directions. So I like to start us off with a simple breathing technique just to ground us in the 4 directions. It begins with 4 simple words. Ke, which means earth. Ni, which means water. Hura, which means air. You can think of huracan, hurricane, and kuyo. And kuyo means fire or light. And so I will begin by starting in our eastern direction, lighting a candle. And this candle has an interesting combination of the earth because it has a physical form and it has things like coconut and honey in it, right? From bees, things from the earth, from the trees. Makes a little crackly sound, but obviously it has kuyo, light. It has those K, earth elements, as I talked about. It has water, like the water from coconut, or even as it melts and makes the wax. It has that ni. And then hura, we know that, you can even see that flame dance. We know that oxygen, air, is needed to fuel fire. And so we ground ourselves in the elements and with a 4-part breath. And so I'm sitting on my sits bones. It's like the bony parts of your bum. And you can kind of rock back and forth, side to side, forward, backward, or even make gentle swing circles. Maybe spiraling. And we'll talk a lot about the spiral and the sacred technologies, the ancestral wisdom and ancestral technologies of the spiral. Until we find our center, we'll make these movements and motions. We want to feel that those bony protrusions in our bottom are connected firmly to the ground. We're sitting comfortably. One of my teachers taught me, strong back. So you want to feel like there's a string through that serpent dragon column of vertebrae in your spine. You can imagine even a little gentle string tying you up to the stars. There's one star above your head, and if you imagine other beings in the world, you can imagine all the stars and all the constellations that we can make together, and you have that unique star. So you sit up tall, strong back, but soft front. We're not like clenching. Our shoulders fall away from our ears. You might even breathe up and drop them back down, like you're folding your wings down your back. Your hands can rest gently on your knees, thighs, or even in your lap. If they're in your lap, you might take this position. Otherwise, hands down on your knees or palms up. If you're feeling more like you need to receive, palms up, palms down to ground. And then, rather than having our chin up, we're going to tuck our chin just slightly and notice what that does to lengthen those vertebrae in the back of your neck. Then we can soften our gaze, bringing our eyes to a 45-degree angle, maybe 3 to 4 feet in front of us, and allowing them to grow soft, like your eyes are going fuzzy, or you might close your eyelids completely. And first, just notice the way you're breathing. Can you notice your breath? Do you hear it? Do you feel it coming in and out at the doorways of your nostrils? Are you breathing up in your upper chest like I kind of am now? Or is your rib cage expanding? Or is your belly expanding? And we're going to notice these different doorways of breath. Come to our nage, our center. We lengthen and elongate. We connect to our anangug, that's the stars up above, our taino, that's the stars up above. And I'll be infusing Arawak and Anishinaabemowin words as much as I can. Arawak is also known as Taino. Those are the original peoples from the Caribbean islands whose ancestry and genetics come from the Amazon, and Anishinaabe are the original peoples of Turtle Island, or what is now known as North America and Canada. And I've been blessed to have many great teachers from this place and to have people that have welcomed me into their communities and hearts, in several of these communities. We're noticing our breath, and we'll take a 4-part breath. First, breathing in fully, feeling the air come in through our nostrils, expand the upper chest, expand the rib cage, and allow our belly to soften outward, filling ourselves with air. And on the exhale, we say or think, Ke, or Aki, earth. Try that one more time. Ke, Aki, tierra, earth. On the inhale, we breathe in, Ni, Nibi, Hawa, water. So our first 2 parts are fill ourselves with breath, with air. Ke, Aki, tierra, land. Ni, Nibi, Awa, water. Hura, Nuden, aire, air. Breathing out, wind, air. Lastly, Kuyo, Shkode, luz, fuego. Fire, our light. Now, rather than using all of these words, I will stick with the Arawak and Anishinaabemowin words. Breathe with me. Breathing in. Exhale. Ke, Haki. Inhale. Ni, Nibi. Exhale. Hura, Nuden. Inhale. Kuyo. Ishkode. A brief wisdom teaching, known in some traditions like the Buddhist tradition as Dharma teaching, I will share with you now. You'll notice that my teaching is a weaving or a braiding, and so sometimes it might feel, or spiral also, a web, weaving a web. Webs have lines, they have curves, they have spirals, they have inner rings and outer rings. And according to the Anishinaabe tradition, the Asabakeshi, the spider, made the web, and from the web came the first forms of language. With the written symbol, the symbol, the formation of symbol. And so I'm calling in the Asabakeshi medicine, that spider medicine today, as I share a few core teachings. Today's teaching is about grounding and using a medicine wheel-based practice, calling in the 4 directions, and pulling from, requesting the assistance of teachings from Eagle and the Condor lands, can help to ground and balance us and pull us into our center, Nage, and into a place of groundedness, finding movement and flow, and then finding a stillness of our unique center helps us find Nage. Lengthening our spine so that we're growing and sending roots down into the earth with our sits bones, and then also extending up into the sky, into the heavens, into the Ananguga, the star, the Taino. Taino meaning star. There are other definitions, but I really like that one. Similar to Anishinaabe, which can also be translated as star people, Taino, star people, star beings. We recognize our rootedness in the stars where we come from, where we return to, where much of our wisdom is held, where we can find the light in the darkness and remember we are that light. Same with the star that is in our heart. That is our heart center. So the first teaching today is around the rootedness, focusing on what is rooting. And rooting can be to root and rise, which happens simultaneously, like the roots and the branches of a tree extend in both directions, the way we just did this bidirectional. Anchoring, coming to find our center. And in the South Asian yogic traditions that I've studied in, they call the root chakra the Muladhara Bandha. The Muladhara Bandha is the lock. Muladhara is that root. And so this is a time where this is a space, the place where our body, it's often connected. So some core teachings about the root chakra. There are many chakras or energy centers in the body. They have been simplified to a degree into 7 energy centers in the body, which are the root, which is around where the perineum touches the ground and is associated with dark red and blood. And in my own studies, I've also found them to be connected with the color spectrum below that as well. So the burgundy, the brown, like the rich earth, the black, the color, the womb-like colors you can think of, the dark night sky, the luminous darkness, the beautiful black darkness, and a beautiful black light. The color of coffee, right? The color of bark, the color of menstrual blood, or the blood when we come out of our mother's womb, or out of our mother's, whether it's our vaginal canal, whether through a cesarean, through the abdomen, we come into the world. And we also name and reclaim the beauty of blackness, of black, which has often been denigrated or made to utilized and distorted and contorted to signify something negative, evil, or bad, or ugly, which is simply erroneous. Black is so beautiful. Black like the parts of my eyes. Black like the darkness that carries our dreams. Black like onyx. Black like obsidian, rainbow obsidian jet, which is a beautiful stone that is between wood becoming petrified and stone. We are in a time when it is hard to root ourselves. I've found personally that it has become so difficult to root in some ways that I've naturally been drawn to shift my relationship to certain things like technology. Even though I love technology, even though I did a cybersecurity fellowship, even though I helped to create the first Facebook pages, bilingual pages for the National Cancer Institute in the US, I have shifted my relationship to social media by not consuming much, if any, social media, and taking a huge step back for the past year and thinking really intentionally about how I re-enter the space and when. And I'm very committed to only engaging in positive ways that uplift myself, that uplift others, that contribute something beautiful and growth-oriented in those spaces. And to not make that my life and my identity so that I can be rooted in this world. It has a beauty and a place. Video games help us explore new worlds, try on different personalities, face challenges, make social connections. We can share photos, we can exchange ideas, we can have debate. But we also know the dark side of social media around comparison, around giving a platform and a megaphone to a lot of negativity and toxicity, to leading to a sense of internalized low self-worth, anxiety, depression, endless scrolling, unhealthy sleep patterns. And so we want to find a balance. And what might work for me or be best for me is not always the best for others. And I'm teaching from my own experience that with anything I share, please take what you like and leave the rest. If something resonates and is helpful, beautiful. If something is not helpful or does not resonate with you, no need to take it with you. I certainly am not perfect, and I am re-entering the social media space after experiencing some really toxic and negative dynamics with others and also with myself, like noticing the endless scrolling, noticing that I was using it as a form of procrastination that was getting in between me and some of my goals. Or, I would go to that versus getting on my yoga mat or reading a book, reaching out to a friend, going on a walk sometimes. I didn't like that. And I was also getting some negative energy from some people, and even what I would consider cyberbullying to a degree. And so that's been a really interesting shift around rooting. But other things that have helped me ground have been shifting the way I eat. And that's been a lifelong process, but really considering all the food and water that I consume as medicine. So always having clean water, and that's a blessing. It's a blessing, and sadly, due to our imbalances in the world, 22:22 just passed. I'll try to keep this video to no longer than 33:33, but due to the imbalances in our world, access to clean, healthy drinking water or water to bathe is not always a guarantee, is not often a guarantee. And our water, our nibi, our sacred ni, which is us, is in grave danger. And one of my teachers, my Wa'ah, shared recently that the AI, and I had heard this would happen or had the intuition as well, but they shared recently that now some of the big companies, in order to support AI, are going after the Great Lakes, which are tremendous sacred bodies of water that have sustained ancestors for millennia, knowledge keepers, language bearers, teachers, guides, healers, engineers, artisans who carry sacred ways and sacred medicines that have been passed down. And these waters are vital, meaning life-giving, life-sustaining, necessary to life. The most vital, perhaps the most vital medicine. They say the first medicine as we come in. One of my other teachers shared, Anishinaabe teachers shared, we come in from water. It makes so much sense. We're literally in a portal of water in the womb until we're born. Of course, water is vital. I was recognizing too that the other day as I was reflecting, I've been in a dance in the comparative study of Arawak and Anishinaabemowin, which will be lifelong, these two languages of my soul. And I was noticing that when we say our ni, water, and Arawak and nibi and Anishinaabemowin are so close, and I don't believe this is coincidence. I was also noticing that when we say like niwi minikwe, I will drink. Niwi minikwe, Ni be. Ni, I. We, I will. Or want to. Minikwe, drink. Ni be, water. We say ni, I want to drink water. That ni is in the word ni be. Half of the word water is the word for I. And the word for I in Anishinaabemowin, ni, is the word for water in Arawak. How beautiful. What a blessing. And in these languages, I feel like an infant, like a toddler. I wish I would have grown up speaking them fluently. And it's a gift to learn from any first language, second language speaker. It's a gift to be around people learning and reclaiming the languages. And it's a deep calling of mine. And it's no mistake that our languages are deeply entwined, and there is a cosmovision, as one of my number one Taino teachers taught me. There's cosmovision, our cosmovision, our vision of the cosmos, of creation, of existence. Our understanding of existence is embedded in language, in spoken language, in the rhythm, in the words, in the meaning of the words and how they're interwoven, in the silence. Coming from being born into an American society, and as a person with that as one of my recognized citizenships, we speak a lot, too much. Perhaps I feel sometimes I'm a verbal processor. I externalize with my words too much, and there's also a beauty in the silence, or in the susurro, in the whispers, in the ripples, the silences and the ebbs and flows in the language, in the cadences, and something I'm still learning and discovering, and something I'm in love with. And so I will continue to gift these offerings, re-gift the gifts that have been gifted to me, and seek to serve for the highest good of any beings and any and all beings who encounter this content, these sharings, these transmissions, these vibrations from my throat chakra. But today we're focusing on the root chakra. I talked about the root, then there's the pelvis, the root with the dark red, the pelvis, which is a Svaristana, and this one is the orange. Then we have a solar plexus, which is a yellow, the heart, which is a green, the throat, which is blue, the first eye, which one of my teachers, La Abuela Brinea, tells us is our first eye, or wisdom, and then our crown chakra. Now, of course, as one may read, there's believed to be like 72,000 nadis, or energy centers, along energy currents throughout the body, in the South Asian yogic traditions. And many have said, oh well, it's not just 7 chakras. The first time I ever learned a chakra system, it was a Brazilian system, and there were 6 of them, and one of them was this first eye was actually off center, or was it the heart? One of them is off center, and the rest are in center. I think it is at the heart, actually, because the heart is off to the left, and then the rest, but there's only 6. Okay. And then I've read of other traditions where there is 11, 13, 19, many. In my experience, there are many, many chakras going up above the crown, and the colors it's a guideline, and there is something sacred about rainbow medicine, rainbow spirit, and even when we think of white here and black here, or the dark colors, it is not above and below in a hierarchical context. In fact, it's spectral, and there's nothing to say that higher is better than lower, lower is better than higher. Is the branch of the tree better than the root of the tree? This makes no sense, right? It's a human distortion, the hierarchical disease, the disease of hierarchy that is plaguing us, rather than seeing our, as Dr. Dan Siegel talks about, the diversity and integration that makes us so beautiful. Maximum diversity and maximum integration, like a forest, is what creates optimal health of a system. It is not extreme diversity but no integration and all of the separation, and it's not complete integration where we're all groupthink and all the same and there's no diversity. It is that diversity and integration. It is the beauty of the above, the below, the ishpaming, the abajo, ancestros ni mama nanaki, the every direction, you know, wabanang javanang ningabe nang yuedinang, the east, the south, the west, and the north, the above, the below, the center, the nage, the center being a dot and a circle around that dot, and the Arawak symbology where we have the center of self, the small s self, our individual self, and then the big self, the collective self, the big S self, the self that is connected to all of life. Because a tree is a tree within a forest, but it is also a part of the forest, and it is therefore forest, right? So I offer these teachings, these sharings, for root chakra and rooting today. I invite us primarily to surround ourselves with the colors of red, of black, of brown, of maroon, to conjure the feeling of womb-like warmth and safety, perhaps taking a warm bath, perhaps turning the light off as you do this, or lighting a candle or a light that maybe makes a red or a purple aura, maybe using towels or blankets of these colors, putting on clothing of these colors. I put on a maroon dress the other day and it felt so grounding and beautiful, and then I put like the light blue with it, like the sky, so for balance. But perhaps eating foods that call to us. Maybe it's like I ate bishiki today. I'm very grateful that I had access to some bison meat and I got to eat that, and that felt really nourishing to my body. But perhaps it might be beets, perhaps it might be a dark red drink with cranberries. Perhaps it might be smelling tobacco or smoking tobacco, right? Asema. It's important for us to find ways to ground that feel authentic to us. And as each one is unique, each fingerprint is unique, each iris unique, each toe and foot and handprint unique, each tongue print unique, each heart a unique star. Every one will find the constellation of healing medicines that is most resonant to them. It can also be deep vibrational sounds and music. So with this, I say Ashe, Ahowana, Miigwech ni boa, mil gracias, muito obrigada, Siani, merci beaucoup, thank you. I hope that any of these teachings have been a blessing to you today.